Hello, and welcome to the Gaia update for the themes and energies of 2019. I'm Adrienne Elise. Well, 2019 continues into this theme that's been going on over this last decade of so of this massive shift we're trying to make into the Aquarian age. And one of the major things we look at is where are the big planets, because they're the big slow-moving planets. Transit signs very slowly, and it tells us about the age that we're in. So last year, Uranus and Chiron moved into new signs, but then retrograded out of them. So this spring and early 2019, we're going to feel this shift more directly. And so in February, Chiron moves into the sign of Aries. This is a big shift of energy because Chiron has been in Pisces, and Chiron takes about 8 years to move through a sign. And Chiron in Pisces was about experiencing and going into the depths of the Chiron is the wounded healer, so it's the wounds of the Piscean age. And so we were going deep into this territory of what happened over these last thousands of years, 2,000 years in the Piscean age, and just patterns throughout time around trauma and pain because of religious persecution. So the Pisces energy has an energy of martyrdom, and it has an energy of victimhood. And so Chiron moving into the sign of Aries. Aries is more about preserving the self, and it's the first sign of the zodiac. It's a spring. It's an energy of a new spring, and so a new birth. So we are having an opportunity for a new birth in our relationship to our wounds. And so Chiron, or Aries, really loves freedom and the expression of the true self. So this is a time when we can stand up for our right to freedom from the wounds of our past and claim our autonomy as humanity moves through these powerful energetic shifts, coming out of victimhood, coming out of the loops of karmic pain that have been going on through this past Piscean age from the collective. So Pisces rules the collective energy. It also rules a connection to the cosmic source. But this connection to the oneness was used by powers and control energies to control us, and that happened through trauma. So Chiron moving into Aries is a really important shifting point for humanity to get up and stand up and take their power back, take their autonomy back, and claim who they are in their true self. So this is the themes that are really coming up as we move into this 2020 astrology. And 2019 is all about, in its entirety, it's like a preparation for the 2020 astrology when Jupiter and Saturn and Pluto come together in Capricorn with the South Node. Now we've already got the South Node in Capricorn, we've got Saturn at home in Capricorn, and we've got Pluto in Capricorn. We're really feeling this energy. Capricorn is the authoritarian structures of our reality. And so we're looking at where we're coming up against this, where we have given our power away to outside forces. And this is an opportunity for humanity, just like that Chiron in Aries, to become free and move into the positive aspects of Capricorn, which is where hard work pays off and new structures and new ways can be built. Because Pluto is the destroyer, it kind of like lays waste to whatever it comes across in order to build things in a new way. It is a transformational energy, the ruler of Scorpio. And so Pluto in Capricorn is trying, it'll be there till 2024, and it's trying to force us to rebuild our world to better fit who we really are. But that means we got to break some stuff down. But our physical reality has not been keeping up with the energetic shifts and changes that have been happening in our world. And that's the time we're at. The physical body and the physical structures of our world are the last to adjust first the energetic changes happen, and then the physical changes happen. And so this is where we're at. New energies have been trying to come in, but the control energies and the structures and our attachment to the physical reality the way it is will not budge. And so that's a lot about 2019 is about. At the same time, a lot of infusion of new energy, like with that Chiron in Aries. So that happens in February, and then in March, Taurus comes out of Pisces for good and moves into comes out of Aries for good and moves into the sign of Taurus. Now, Taurus is an earth sign, and it's about embodiment and the physical world. Now, Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, and it speaks to cosmic energies, higher frequency vibrations. It's a disruptive energy, but trying to move us into new energy. It is in alignment with electricity, electrical energy, and technology. So Uranus is trying to infuse the earth in the embodiment of Taurus with these new spiritual energies, with new technologies, with new awarenesses. Uranus is sudden and has kind of an erratic nature. So it's kind of like it has this radical change energy to it. So we're going to see some radical changes to our physical reality. But what this really means for all of us is radical changes within our own, whatever's been stuck for us in our structures of our reality, which is mostly our beliefs and patterns of beliefs and programming. That's really what Uranus wants to disrupt. And so you can check out my video about Chiron in Aries and Uranus in Taurus that I did last year about these. So Uranus takes about 7 years to get through a sign. So this next 7-8 years, we're going to be flavored by these energies, an embodiment of spiritual energies, transforming our physical world through radical change and energetic change, new technologies, new vibrational energies, these spiritual energies trying to land on Earth, because Uranus also rules information and a higher level of information. And so this higher level of information is trying to land into our actual reality. So it speaks to this, the effect of, all of these changes we're trying to make have to do with this Pluto-Uranus square that happened in starting in 2011 until 2017, the beginning of last year really is when it really ended. And so this Pluto and Uranus, when they come into a square, it's about adjustments and radical, revolutionary changes that need to happen. So we had that square, but we still haven't seen these changes in our manifested reality. And so all of the messages of the stars are really talking about this. And ultimately, it's talking about coming home to our planet. Bringing who we really are as soul spiritual beings, and maybe you could see it through that Chiron and Aries activation of the true self and standing up for the true self and coming out of martyrdom, coming out of giving our power away and believing the stories that we're powerless, little dirty, feeder beings, humans, and understanding that we are embodied consciousness. And that is the path that we are all on individually and collectively. And so this Uranus and Taurus is speaking a lot to this. But the disruptive energy of Taurus is also going to bring some changes to our financial system and also, like I said, systems of thought in our reality. And so, but there's a lot of energy about coming home. We've got Jupiter at home in Sagittarius. Jupiter loves being at home at Sagittarius. We've got, and that's going to be until next November. And then we've got Saturn at home in Capricorn, and that's going to be into 2020. And then we've got through 2020, and then we've got Neptune in Pisces. At home in Pisces. Now, Neptune is a real slow-moving planet, but it's made it past the halfway mark of Pisces. So it's kind of like, okay, we're moving into this new chapter. But we've got all these planets at home, and it's kind of saying something to us here about it's time to come home to the planet. And there's a fundamental sense of, this is interesting because one of the other shifts that's happening for this next year and into 2020 is that the North Node has moved into Cancer, the North Node of the Moon, and that means the South Node has moved into Capricorn. And so the South Node is a player in Capricorn in 2020 as well. And the North Node in Cancer is speaking, the North Node is like, how are we moving into our next chapter, into the future? What do we need to do to get there, kind of thing. And so the energy here is on nurturing. And nurturing and feeling safe and nurtured in this world is so incredibly important. It's a base necessity for humans. I mean, babies who are not nurtured will die from not nurturing. You can give them all the food you want, but if they're not held in warmth and they're not held in love, they will not thrive. So this is a necessary part of our survival, and yet it does not have a lot of value in our world. You know, and it's part of this, the control energies keeping us in survival consciousness. And it's time for us to thrive. And that means that we need to reevaluate our relationship to nurturing and how we value nurturing in our world. That has a lot to do with the humanitarian changes that want to come through in the Aquarian age, where we are creating a world that's better for everyone, you know, not just for a few. And where we actually want to take care of people because that's what feels good, right? It's like an empathic energy where it's, you know, and this is what's been going on and made life very difficult for very sensitive people that are sensitive to the collective energies. And the pain and suffering that's happening on the planet makes it very difficult to be here completely. And so these light worker souls and indigo souls and starseed souls have only partially incarnated and are kind of a little bit here on Earth, but not fully committed to this experience. But that Uranus and Taurus and all these planets their home signs saying it's time to come to the Earth. We kind of have to, you have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You're not fully committed to this experience, and we need to come down to Earth. We don't have a choice. With Uranus and the Earth sign of Taurus, we got Saturn at home in Earth sign of Capricorn, and we've got Pluto in Capricorn, and these big players in Earth signs, and it's all about, okay, yeah, time to land. So when we come into the truth of who we really are, like that Chiron in Aries, and claim our true self, that we are actually consciousness, right? So a lot of the programming wants us to believe that we're just flesh, we're just material, and we live and then we die. And we know that's not true, but our world does not reflect these truths. And we live in so much pain and suffering because of these outdated belief systems that have to do with the structured religions of this past age and religious ideas of the past age of Pisces that have kept us in chains in this material world. And we are so much more than material world. And, you know, so much of our focus in our daily life is how the control energies want to keep us is just on survival and building up resources and paying for our reality and paying to live and paying the piper and paying for utilities, you know. And part of that Uranus and Taurus energy is like, you know, that new technology, the new vibrational energy, disruption of our systems. You know, we know that there's free energy technology available to us, but it's been highly suppressed. And what does our world look like? Now, Uranus and Taurus is going to bring that technology into every household. There's no way we can move forward without that shift. And this is a shift out of this survival mode mindset and just kind of grasping for this physical reality and trying to build up wealth, because wealth gives us position and wealth gives us meaning and wealth gives us friends and wealth gives us, you know, all these opportunities. But you know what? You don't get to take that shit when you go. And we don't really die. So we need to start focusing on what we do get to take with us and what really matters, you know, and that kind of brings us back down to this energy that's necessary for our human evolution right now, which is reevaluating this role of nurturing and nurturing our experience and coming into a compassionate energy of experience and understanding that the compassion and the love that we live and that we breathe and that we embody, that's what we get to take with us. You know, it's our soul growth and our soul evolution that has the real wealth in this world. And so we're getting a reality check on this stuff with this North Node in Cancer. And it's kind of like we can't really move forward until we're willing to change these things that aren't nurturing in our world. Now, that also, with the North Node in Cancer, that means that South Node is in Capricorn, and the South Node is our past karma, like what's holding us back from the past. Now, Capricorn has to do with these authoritarian structures of our life and power energy of, as far as like, the structures of authoritarian structures and where we have given our power away to energies outside of ourselves. So a lot of the themes come back to this personal spiritual autonomy and the autonomy that humanity needs to reach for from all the control energies that have been manipulatively affecting and holding back our spiritual evolution. And we need to say, hey, we know who we are. Now we remember who we really are, and we're going to come to the earth. We're going to commit to this place. We're going to ground out. We're going to infuse these spiritual energies with that Uranus and Taurus. We're going to bring the new spiritual vibrations of the Aquarian age to our physical world, right? So where the spirituality of the past was so much about ascending, you know, this idea of moving to higher vibrations and meditating ourselves away. But really, spiritual ascension is about infusing the earth with spiritual energy, right? Like we are the pillar of this God force, these changes, this new area of the galaxy that we're moving through, activating our sun, and the sun is giving us energies to reset our DNA, to awaken us to who we really are and infuse this physical world with the truth of who we really are, instead of this lie that we're living around materialism. And so this is some of the energetic changes that are trying to occur. And the way we help this is claiming our spiritual autonomy, taking our power back, and embodying here. You know, the biggest threat to the control energies and the structures of that are holding us back in our evolution is our embodiment, our true full incarnation of our light. You know, in my personal sessions, I'm shown again and again that we actually bring in our consciousness a tiny fraction of who we really are. And what happens when we actually start to incarnate our light fully and completely and know who we really are and understand that consciousness embodied is so much more powerful than any physical manifestation. And it's just a massive change that's trying to happen, and yet we're coming up with this Capricorn energy, we're coming up against these structures that will not budge. It's like a mountain. And how do you change a mountain? Well, we've been shown, and it's been proven to us through quantum physics that what's solid to us isn't actually solid, right? And so we have this fundamental shift in our awareness that needs to happen so that we can transform our physical world into a world that better fits the truth of who we are as soul spiritual beings. Now, part of this energy is reflected in a potent square. The main astrological transit, which is like angular relationships between the planets, that's happening for 2019 is Jupiter at home in Sagittarius in square to Neptune at home in Pisces. So Jupiter, so we've got this home energy, right? But it also makes them strong. They like being at home, but it also makes them kind of one-sided in a way. And so we're having an ideological battle here, but it's like within our own psyche, because Jupiter's the seeker and it wants to connect out beyond. It wants to travel and expand and learn and grow and teach and heal and be connected, be on a quest, right? And then Neptune is our connection to spiritual oneness, into that collective consciousness, but also there's an energy of delusions and confusion with Neptune, because that world doesn't translate to our physical world. And so we always get a little bit confused with the Neptune energy, even though it's about feeling a connection to something. It's a confusing connection, and it's something a lot of times you'll doubt. It's like an intuition that comes so strong that you doubt it. So with Jupiter and Sagittarius is kind of a know-it-all. It's like, I've seen it and I know, and I've studied it and I know this, right? And but it's a little bit stuck in what we've already learned, and we need to look out beyond what the structures of the higher education. You know, Jupiter kind of rules higher education, Sagittarius. And so we're still working with old constructs in a way. And so know-it-all Jupiter's coming up with confused Neptune, but it's really saying they're both in mutable signs, and mutable signs are about adjustments. These are the signs that happen at the change of seasons. So it's time to adjust our thinking and our conceptions and our reality about what's true. And so expect 2019, the 3 times that this happens in January and June and July through September, and then, or June and July, and then September. So pretty much all year into the fall, we're going to be feeling this energy of challenge, okay? Because squares always bring a challenge, and since this is the only major square that's really going on this year, it's on the forefront, and it's a challenge to what we think is true and what we know. And that's a good thing, but it doesn't always feel good. And so there's going to be periods of time where you have to question everything that you thought you knew. And this is really hard. And this is part of the adjustment thing, right? 2018 was a year of adjustment, and now we're adjusting to that adjustment and preparing for the 2020 astrology. And so the adjustment that needs to happen this year is to resolve this tension between what we thought was true and what's really true, or is there any truth, and can I trust myself? Can I trust my intuition? Can I trust what I learned? Can I trust what's been told to me? You know, and this is so important to moving forward into the 2020 energy of the changing of the guard, which is like the hammer coming down in our reality, this reality check of facing where we've given our power away, and facing the people we've trusted in positions of authority, where, you know, it's extremely rare for them to be working in our actual best interest. And then what other kind of energies out there, higher dimensional beings, other races, have been controlling and manipulating our reality. And we're just going along with it like, okay, whatever you say, you know. And it's like, no, it's not working anymore. It's getting far too deep into duality, far too evil, far too out of balance, you know. And unfortunately, to come back into balance, we have to get more deeper in balance, you know. But there is an element of disclosure of truths in our individual life, what we thought was true, what we thought our quest was, and what we thought God was, maybe, or source connection, like spirituality. All of this is kind of up for review, and then for the collective as well. And so it's almost like Jupiter, the seeker that wants to be on the quest in Sagittarius and square to Neptune, is challenging those concepts of God as an angry God outside of ourselves that kind of came through in the Piscean age, and reevaluating all belief structures based on sorting through everything we've been told, and, you know, trying to find some deeper truth within our own being. So the goal is a deeper security and a deeper truth. It's almost like, you know, if we are going to come home to planet Earth, we got to resolve this stuff, you know, and get to these deeper truths. And so we can find that true security and that true nurturing and that true trust in our higher self and in the path and the journey, and that we are here for something amazing, and we are here to have our hard work pay off. But we've got to adjust and let go and release ourselves from where we have given our power away to outside sources. So these things are kind of all coming together and leading up to this big shift, a huge opportunity for humanity to come into its own spiritual autonomy and throw off the negative and the timelines and the negative forces and the dark energies that have been kind of holding us back for way too long in our spiritual evolution, and releasing all the belief systems that have been programmed into our reality. You know, we're like a computer, but we've got some bad virus software, you know, with like that angry God and, like, you know, poverty consciousness, and we're small and insignificant, and, you know, all these things are up for review in order for us to take back our power, which is the 2020 energy and our huge opportunity for humanity. So we got to be ready. You know, if you can just think of 2019, it's like not a year to skate, right? It's not a year. It's part of the energy with that Jupiter-Neptune square is that whenever Neptune's involved, we have a tendency to escape, right? And especially if you don't know, if you're confused and you're challenged in your belief systems and your thoughts and everything you thought was true, I mean, you just want to escape it all, right? But we have to seize our consciousness, right? Especially with all of the energies of manipulation and control that are at such a height right now. We have to claim our consciousness, claim our body, claim our autonomy, and be grounded as we can, you know? And it's interesting because actually that's when you can have the most fun, because it's no longer going to be working to escape reality. You know, and it kind of feels like, well, that's what's fun. That's when I can relax. That's when I can release from this world. And it's like, no, we got to be here. Because if you're not here, you're being manipulated. So you got to bring your consciousness and claim, you know, your autonomy, spiritual autonomy. And so this will be really supported by the group effort, group work, group sessions that I'm going to be doing in activations over this year, is to just ground out, to incarnate and come home to the earth and be here for this most amazing process that's happening. And that's when you actually feel good, right? We have to go into the shadow consciousness. That's what we've been doing for the last 3 or 4 years with all the Scorpio energy, just ripping out this dark, shadowy stuff, because it's like we can't really incarnate if we've got a whole bunch of closet shadows stuff in the closet. We just want to jump right back out of our body. So we've been doing all of that stuff so that we can fully be here on the planet. And it's all hands on deck right now. So 2019, especially the beginning of 2019, when we have a lot of planets in Capricorn, it's when we get our marching orders. It's when we get our work, our personal work for this year. And it will pay off if you can stay focused and keep up with the work, even though it feels like you're not getting anywhere. The Capricorn energy ultimately is going to be bringing big returns. Now, that brings me to Chinese New Year this year. On February 5th is the beginning of Chinese New Year, and that's when we move into the Chinese year of the Earth Pig. Now, the year of the pig is about abundance. The earth is about physical reality. And so we're talking about physical abundance that's available to us, you know, and also timelines landing home and these positive changes manifested, new projects, positive changes in our reality. The pig is generous and compassionate and wants to help other people. And it's just a really good energy that we need right now. And so that hard work is going to pay off big, especially in the material world. Even though that's not who we are, you know, it doesn't mean we're here to be in poverty either. You know, we don't get to take it with us, but we need to have the tools to be able to create the projects, create the solutions, and have fun doing it. Come together with your soul group and get going on the work that you came here to do. And so the year of the pig is some really good energy around physical abundance and manifestations coming to be in the physical world that you might have been working on for a long time, right? The Chinese zodiac is 12 years. So this might be like for the last 12 years, you've been working on these projects, and yet nothing has really come to form. You know, and this kind of goes along with the energy of why we're not totally incarnate on this planet as starseeds and light workers and indigo souls, because the energy on the planet couldn't quite host us in our entirety. And this is shifting, right? And it's trying to land these projects and these solutions. And it's going to be a fun adventure with our soul team to put these real solutions and healing energies and practical projects into form, you know, beginning in 2019. And once you get on that path and you feel like you're working on your true destiny, that's part of this Jupiter home in Sagittarius energy, is this destiny trying to land home and getting back on our spiritual quest, where we've been very distracted through all kinds of things we've had to go through. And so then you can really start living, and your vibration can rise above the mind control and the lower vibrational frequencies that we're being inundated with right now, right? And the more of us that can rise above and evolve beyond this control, meaning that we can be complete universes in our own universe. We don't need to be energetically affected by negative energies, by control energies, by the pain and suffering that has been so hard to separate from. But we need to create our own new earth right here, right now. And that's part of this Uranus and Taurus, this embodiment of these spiritual energies. You know, but if you are not claiming your autonomy and you don't feel worthy of these new energies, then they're just going to leak out everywhere and you're going to get all infected again with all the lower vibrations. But more and more of us evolving beyond, claiming our energetic autonomy, fully incarnating, coming into higher vibrational frequencies is going to help the collective eke above the lower vibrations. And just what we're really trying to do is raise the vibration of the planet, which is trying to happen. We're just not receiving it because we're being so blocked. But these cosmic energies, and it's just going to throw off all of the lower vibrational frequencies. It's just going to throw off these entities, these darkness, the shadow energies in the astral plane from the planet. And this has been happening, you know, for over years and through our evolution. But we have not gotten to the tipping point yet. And so 2020, 2024, astrology of these next years coming up really has that. It's time to kick these bad guys out of here and take back our planet. But can we do that if we don't feel like we deserve? That's a lot of this Taurus energy. If we don't feel like we deserve the higher vibrations, you know, why some people are staying in lower vibrational frequencies out of loyalty contracts to other souls. Like they feel like they don't want to leave them behind. And, you know, if they move into higher spiritual energies, they're abandoning their family or other people. And maybe you feel like you're beating yourself up for something happened, some so-called failure in a past life or a past evolution, which really wasn't your fault, because you have been coming as a light worker again and again to try to bring this change so many times. And now it's finally time to do it. And so, but we've got to know that we deserve, and it's okay. Okay, so a lot of the program says it's not safe to move into higher vibrational frequencies, right? So that we've just got a stack of programming that's keeping us from, but little by little, as more people evolve beyond, and it's just going to ratchet up the possibility and the potential for higher vibrational energies for the whole collective until we get that tipping point, which is going to be happening in the upcoming years. And so a lot of energy here about coming home. Now, one of the other cool things that's happening this year is a transit between Saturn in Capricorn, home in Capricorn, in a sextile to Neptune in Pisces. So it's interesting because we got Jupiter at home in Sag in square to Neptune at home in Pisces, and we've got Saturn home in Capricorn. So all of the planets that are playing in this year, the major transits, are at home. And so Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, and it speaks to our manifested reality and then also the obstructions and blockages of our manifested reality. But a sextile is an incredibly positive, helpful, creative solution type energy. And so in sextile to Neptune and Pisces, it's about, Neptune represents our dreams. You know, it's like it could be a delusion, it could be a dream, it could really be possible. It's like, it's our fantasy, right? And so Saturn is our reality. And it's like, okay, let's make it happen, right? Like, why are we here? Are we here just to live out in a doldrum life? To just pretend that we're happy, to just put a nice face on social media and pretend that we have this great life that we live? Or are we here to really experience life in physical form, right? We need to go from rejecting the physical plane and rejecting the earth and rejecting this world because it's so heavy and so evil and all these dark things that have happened. We've been rejecting it and trying to escape it. But now we need to infuse these energies here and claim this experience and come home and know we deserve the earth we want to see, which is moving into this golden age, which is supported by moving into the age of Aquarius. where these negative energies have been thrown from the planet, and we can just reset and reground and build a new world that's healthier for everyone. And so this sextile between Saturn and Neptune has some really good energy of manifested dreams. And so that kind of goes along with the year of the pig too, right? So this 12-year cycle, because the year of the pig is the last of the cycle of the Chinese zodiac. So it's the completion energy. And that's kind of an interesting juxtaposition of 2019, because it's like new, and we're moving into a new world, and we got all these planets and new signs, and we got this and that and the other thing, but then we're also completing cycles. You know, so we're kind of at this crossroads of completion and beginnings. And, you know, that's that whole kind of gridlock we've been in with this Uranus and square to the nodes. And it's like, can we move forward? Can we move? We got to go backward in order to move forward. And we're kind of jimmying the lock on our reality and trying to move the wheel of time into the optimal timeline. So we have some more of that energy, because it's interesting, because just as Uranus comes off, because it's direct now and it's going to be moving out of the square with the nodes, we're going to feel it through February pretty much. But kind of taking its place is Pallas Athene, an asteroid goddess named after Athena. And Athena has to do with justice and diplomacy and finding peaceful solutions through our intellectual means to our conflicts. And Athena is a warrior for the mind and for the intellect and for diplomacy. So Athena is in a square, is kind of taking over, but from the other side. So there's actually, for the beginning of the year, we're also going to be feeling an opposition between Uranus and Pallas Athene. And then Pallas Athene kind of takes that all the way into July, August. We'll feel, I think through July, we'll be feeling this T-square with Pallas Athene. So Pallas Athene is saying, because the nodes are about the past and the future. So with a T-square with the nodes, it's saying, okay, what's affecting our ability to move? You know, what's holding us back, and why can't we go forward? And Athena says, we got to have some diplomatic solutions, right? Which ultimately means the end of war. I mean, we could be at this place. We have had amazing things happen around world peace. Even though the picture that's being painted for us is terrorism and riots and blah, 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 all that stuff, but we've actually had huge movements towards moving out of the threat of nuclear weapons and moving out of this constant wars going on, you know. And Athena is saying, hey, and also it speaks to, you know, the division, the political and social divisions. And it's kind of like, you know, Athena's like, bring it to the table. We've got some negotiating to do, you know, and because really underneath we all want the same thing. And it, you know, we have been a victim, you know, part of that Chiron and Pisces energy of this divide and conquer agenda, you know. And it's like, what if both sides of every conflict throughout history that's been recorded was fueled by the same people? The same powers, the same energy, and then they go with the winner. And then they immediately create a rebellion against that, so we can keep us in constant conflict and constant hatred and constant like, well, I'm okay because I have my group of people and we all believe the same and you guys are bad. And it's like, you know what? We're all humans and we're all on the earth and we got to get over that crap. And so Pallas Athene is saying, hey, sit down at the table and come up with some solutions, because we cannot keep going on the warmongering thing. And this is already shifting and changing, but it's a really good energy, and it's saying it's necessary. We can't jimmy the lock and move into the future of this reality until we can find some diplomatic solutions and find some win-win stuff. You know, we're just told that somebody has to lose. And it's like, no, how about we win? How about we help each other? And how about we make our world a better place? And how about we have some world leaders that actually really care and want to do the right thing? So that is some energy coming in, and it says a lot about the 2020 shift into this hammer coming down, facing reality, and the changing of the guard of the authoritarian structures of our world, and humanity taking back its power and taking back its autonomy from all forces of manipulation and control, as we do this one by one in our energetic field and claim our planet, claim our home, claim our physical body, claim our consciousness, and become autonomous. And that Chiron and Aries fight for our right, for our true self, which is the spark of creation that we are, which is more powerful than any manifested thing out there. So 2019 is a year of hard work. It's also a year of big payoffs and manifesting things. And once you get, in your true path, Saturn at home in Capricorn has an energy of your true path, your dharma. It's like your true work. It's also the obstacles into that path. So when Saturn energy is active in your chart, it's kind of like, it feels like there's all this stuff in the way, but what if it's actually guiding you and pushing you into a more appropriate dharma, which is your true path, your destiny path. So much going on around landing home and getting to the work of what we really came here to do. And so many light workers and indigo souls and starseeds, and as I worked on astrology charts and individual sessions this last year, a huge message around a real line in our evolution, in our personal path, where it's like we've lived this whole life to undo all these other lifetimes, but we've chosen, and we know because of the universal timelines and everything, that we're really going to do it this time, and we're really going to succeed. And we are going, but it's taken a whole life, or a whole half a life, or a whole big part of your life to undo all these other lives and all this other programming, so you can actually get down to work and do what you're here to do. But it feels really freaking amazing. And that is the change that's available to us through this hard work of just being present and being willing to be actual participants in this earth evolution and this earth world. So thanks for hanging out with me on the journey. I'm looking forward to having great connections with you through group events over this upcoming year. So until next time, I'm Adrienne Elise. I wish you a wonderful 2019. Namaste.